I'm such a dumbass. Listen to what I just said at my intro.
Hello and welcome back to Sharks of the Corn, where I watch bad shark films so you don't have to.
Sharks of the Corn? What?
Empire of the Sharks is a 2017 made-for-TV film, and this film is a fucking mess. It's almost as if they put two writers in separate broom cupboards and refused to feed them until they came up with something, and just stapled the pages together without checking it. There's a huge problem with the overall world building in this film, but you'll see that as we go. The concept of this film is that climate change has finally done its thing. 98% of the world is covered in water, and now everyone lives on these little shanty towns surviving, and it's every man for himself, and of course there's bad guys who try to control everything. We start off with this bad guy who literally looks like he just fell out of an opium den.
That's right.
Called Mason Scrim. He's sort of like this piratey Mad Max villain type thing, and what happens is he provides desalinated water to the shanty towns in exchange for items that they scavenge, and I'm assuming things like food, supplies, anything else that they can survive on.
And in turn, all he asks is that you pay a tribute. And in turn, he gives you fresh water.
Most of these characters have absolutely no impact on the movie, but if I don't talk about them, it's going to get a bit even more confusing. The main thing to remember here is this guy is the main character, and this guy's amazing because every time he tries to look intense or shocked about something or scared, he looks like he just found out where babies come from.
Wait a minute!
So the thing to pay attention to right now is that this girl is named Willow, and she is, believe it or not, the main character. She's barely in the movie, but she's the main character in that she's the most important character. And this guy is, I think, Timor?
I'm getting Willow out. Stay hidden, and if you get in trouble, dive, okay?
He is the actual main character, and they're apparently in love, but they never speak and they have no chemistry, and it's all really shoehorned. It's important to mention it because it's the only inciting incident for this movie. It is why he does what he does. But before the bad guy shows up, we have this scene with the leader of this shantytown and Willow, the main character who's not in the movie, holding up some kind of amulet towards the horizon.
$8 o'clock?
We don't get any information on what this is. It seems almost like maybe it's a compass, maybe it's a newfangled way of telling the time.
8:15. Keep on practicing.
And that's it, that's all we know about it, but we already get the feeling that this amulet is going to mean something down the line. But for now, forget about it, it'll come back later. So anyway, where was I? Mason Scrim.
Gentlemen, please.
Mason Scrim is unhappy because they haven't given him enough stuff this month, and so as a punishment he decides he's going to take a bunch of slaves to make his own shantytown work better, because he has the desalinator machine which requires human hands to work, and hence the slaves. So the leader of this shantytown, I genuinely thought at first that he was going to be the mentor character, kind of like someone in the driving seat of all of this, but no, he immediately gets killed off, so... I don't know. Mason Scrim, he has a glove. And this glove, which is attached to a laptop, which is attached to this guy who wears a headset that he never uses, can control the sharks in the water. And we don't get any kind of information about where this comes from, how it works, anything, but just go with it. He's one of those. Mason Scrim promises to give the slaves back if they provide what he needs. We all know that the bad guys never do this, but still, as a reminder that this Mason Scrim character is not a good guy, just in case his scruffy face and leather jacket wasn't a clue, one of the slaves just passes out from dehydration. And rather than picking him up and throwing some water down his throat so that he can keep slaving away, they tie him to this, float device by the arms and get the glove on and get the sharks out to eat him. And I really hope you're not waiting for a description on how this fucking glove works, but I absolutely promise you that you will never find out. It just gets worse. It gets so much worse. So meanwhile, back at the original shantytown where the slaves were taken from, Timor and a girl named Sion, they get in this little submarine thing that they have, and they go to Mason Scrim's little big city type thing. That sets off some motion detectors, which of course means that the sharks get released from this massive, almost like a metal container. It's a big old, like, chase scene. They escape the sharks by going so far down in the water that, frankly, it should have killed them.
We have to go out.
The sensory nerve supply of the uterus and birth canal.
And then that's it. That's the whole scene over with. It's the most ridiculous failed rescue attempt I've ever seen. So Timur decides that he needs the help of other people, people with more manpower, people with more firepower.
You sure you want to do this?
I made a promise to look after Willow.
I've got hair in my eye. Hold, please. And so he goes to this other shanty town, like a bit of a pirate village, a bit of a Tortuga for the Waterworld generation, and finds this pirate lady.
Keep a miss from the trouble.
Because she's pretty cool. She's such a classic pirate, you know, she's got the layered, ragged clothes, the attitude. She even has one earring. 10 out of 10 pirating, honestly. So he asks her for help, and she just outright refuses.
You need a few more bags like that to start that conversation.
And so he goes into her bar and just decides to have a drink and think about what to do. And there's this competition, like a breath-holding competition going on, where all these, like, drunk, gross men are all like holding their heads in buckets of water, and the one who holds their breath for the longest gets the money. And of course, the only one that wins is a girl who's not like other girls. I can't just look, just... Swear to God, these films. Let's watch that again in slow motion with some sexy music behind it. I just ride in my pants every time you're next to me. So she sits down at the bar and starts drinking. So Timur comes over and does what any self-respecting, normal alpha male would do and basically calls her an alcoholic.
Someone with your skills shouldn't be wasting it on drinking money. No offense.
Eventually, she decides, after trying to reject him and he won't go away, she just kind of caves and says, fine, I'll help you if you pay me. At this exact point in the movie, I was so confused about the accents in this film. They all seemed so odd. Like, they were supposed to be American, but they didn't sound American, and I just couldn't figure out why everyone sounded like this. And then I googled it, and it turns out that it's almost an entirely South African cast. And I thought that was pretty cool, but I love the South African accent.
Yeah, you sneaky fucking prawns, eh?
Why did you do that? No, stop it. So these people who are like hired mercenaries of sorts, they agree to do the job, but they are the worst mercenaries in the entire world. I'm sure that there's not that many mercenaries left in the world, but my fucking God, no. These are just an absolute clown show. Immediately, they start the kind of trouble that starts getting people killed en masse. It is ridiculous.
You will return the ship and the cargo belonging to the Warlord immediately, or I will send our sharks to destroy Koratoa.
So not only do they steal the boat, they then intercept and steal a delivery of an electronics desalination unit, which Mason Scrim wanted, and it just causes utter chaos. Mason Scrim, one of the biggest psychopaths on the planet, immediately starts killing some of the slaves.
The Warlord is threatening to kill all the hostages unless you return the cargo you stole from them immediately.
Because why wouldn't he? He did this to you 10 minutes ago. He's mad. What is wrong with you? Ugh. So every now and then they intermittently cut back to Willow to remind us that she is in fact in the movie. In this scene, she's one of the people that Mason Scrim and Ian Fane are threatening to kill because they want their gear back. Like the others, they tie her to that flotation device and they kick her out into the water, summon the sharks, and nothing. Now, Tech Guy confirms with his 15-year-old laptop that the glove is in fact working.
Is the system working?
Everything is a go.
With no precursor or anything, they very quickly assume that it's the amulet she's wearing that is doing all of this. In this scene where she's floating in the water and the sharks are leaving her alone, pay very close attention to how the amulet is just not doing anything. Meanwhile, despite firing his pirate buddies, they show up again because pirates. And then that lady, that barman pirate lady.
I heard what they did over the radio. We fight. All of us. We made the mistake of letting the Warlord grow powerful.
So now being a little bit intrigued by Willow's ability to prevent the sharks from attacking her, Ian Fane takes her back to his quarters to have a word.
The masters of the mountains pushed the people back into the sea. The battles were bloody, and the blood drew the sharks, and the water was filled with sharks. And it was a massacre.
So now they decide to, for some reason, test this again and put her back in the water to try again and see what they can do this time. And then we get more technology when Tech Guy decides that he's gonna decode her brain patterns with a laptop.
If she won't freely divulge the information we need, there are ways to get it out of her. See, all I need is to record her brainwaves while she's interacting with the sharks.
Okay, I can't remember at all what part of the movie this was in, but at some point, a bunch of people from some other shantytown place come over to the original shantytown where we started, and they've all got these, like, robes on, but we don't really know what they're doing yet. We just get an introduction to them. And we're back with Tech Guy. This part was fucking savage. They throw this woman in the water to try and force Willow to making the sharks attack the woman. And they slide her into the water by pushing a broom handle into her chest. Ow! Like, oof, why the boobs, man? For whatever reason, Willow has no idea that she can even do this. She wasn't even aware that she was doing it until she was told. And just before they can manually kill this woman, the alarm goes off to say that someone's in the vicinity, and they pull her back in and everyone runs away. Again, important to know, Ian Fane takes the amulet into his quarters. So he takes it completely away from Willow, completely away, gone. And Willow and this other woman and some other people, they get put individually into these like bamboo type cages. So Willow decides to try something, and again, we get no lead up to why she thinks this might work. She just does it. And she manages to control the shark to the point where it gets them away. Eventually, Ian Fane in his quarters notices the amulet is now glowing. It wasn't glowing before, but it's glowing now.
Sir? She's doing something.
So he takes her out of the cage and hooks her back up to Tech Guy's brainwave device. The pirate rescue parade are now on their way still to Ian Fane's village or whatever. The boat gets blown up. And they're forced to swim to shore, and the two women, Scion and Pirate Lady, they get to the rafters and they get stopped. And without any fight whatsoever, they get tied to these floaters ready for the sharks to eat them. I don't even know how that happened. Why would you not fight? You got all this way and you're like, darn, foiled again. But just before they can get eaten, this happens. All of these films have dodgy CGI, but I really like this scene. This was pretty cool. So, do you remember how before Willow needed to wear the amulet and be in the water to do her thing, and then she just needed the water to do her thing? She doesn't need to do that now. And plot twist, the amulet gets broken by Ian Fane later in the movie, and she still has her abilities. The sharks are like diving all over the place, eating people left and right. It's marvellous. 10 out of 10. Willow, having done all this, passes out from the ridiculous effort that she's had to put into this. Ian Fane has her thrown in the water, hoping that she'll drown.
Regrets. I've had a few.
Timur, who's in scuba gear, swims up and saves the day, manages to get her back on shore as he's like tending to Willow by staring at her confusedly. Mason Scrim just pops around the corner with two machetes he's been hiding under his coat the whole movie. And then there is a fight scene that makes me want to die. It's so bad.
What?
And then Willow wakes up from her little nap just in time and he's dead. Woo! The pirate people free all the slaves, and then they decide they're also going to re-steal the desalination unit that they already stole. And now the sharks have gone bonkers, and Willow apparently is not controlling them. She doesn't know what's happening, and everything's all crazy.
Are you doing this?
I don't know.
So again, we have another plot hole because she can only control the sharks for so long, and the sharks are now doing this by themselves, but in a minute she'll have control back, and it's just like, this film is a fucking mess. So Ian Fane has put the glove on. This is about the time he breaks the amulet because he was hoping that by doing so she would lose her powers. I don't think I even need to tell you that Ian Fane gets eaten, but here it is anyway. Okay, kids, we've officially reached bullshit central of the entire movie. I'm losing my voice, good God. So it turns out that these people are some sort of special shark caller tribe.
This belongs to the shark caller. It would have made your father proud.
Willow's father, who gave her the amulet, was also a shark caller, and he gave her the amulet because of that. He was like passing it down to her. But we know that the amulet's useless, so I don't know what it was for. Why? I just found it so weird how one minute we had this like slightly wacky technology. I can live with that. Lots of films do it, and it's a thing. But then all of a sudden the technology didn't matter anymore, and it was just magic. Pure mind control, absolute nonsense. What is she doing? So anyway, the film ends. That's it. That can't be it. Hold on, there has to be a sequel to this. Give me a second. It is a sequel? This film is a sequel. Did you know this film was a sequel? I did not know this film was a sequel. So this is a sequel to a film called Planet of the Sharks. Why do I feel like it's not going to explain anything if I go and watch that right now? Oh well. I really hope you enjoyed that, guys. That was a really fun video to make. That film is ridiculous, but next week, I'm mega excited because we get my favourite shark franchise in the world. I'm not going to tell you though, you're going to have to follow me on Twitter and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next Friday. Bye!